If you remember, my favorite set of grips on the Quest 2 were the Aubika rechargeable silicone grips. They made the controller handles longer, and we ended up even making a J-Brad edition of them that only a few of you were able to get because it was a limited edition. Aubika has now released their Quest 3 controller grips based on a lot of the same ideas and principles as the old ones, but brought forward for the new generation of controllers. Let's check these out. Top-notch VR accessories for you. Aubika has been going premium on a lot of them, so I feel like that is potentially justified. Now, off screen over here, you'll get to see, I actually have an early prototype set that I've been trying to hide from you on the channel for a while now. I got to be involved in testing the prototype, giving feedback, so hopefully what I have here is the final product of the feedback I've given towards these, so these should be a great set of grips. So these are silicone covers, but they replace not only your battery door, but your batteries inside, so then you can always have your controllers charged up and ready to go. They work via USB-C charging, but they send you a nice braided splitter cable that will split up, plug into the bottom, and then charge up both of these simultaneously. So the big question, will these replace the HZ Lucky hand grips that I've been using for a long time here? Battery door comes off, my Meta Quest dock charging batteries would come out, Aubika ones would go in, and then the whole thing slips in, and then it locks in where your battery door would have. Here it lock into place, and then silicone goes around the front. They did make the outer edge of the silicone here out of a different material that would not block the IR lights coming through for tracking. The whole thing locks into the battery door, so unlike other grips that kind of flop around on the controller, it's locked in by a plastic there. The only issue I was having with the prototype one, there was a little too much silicone here and the grip button kept getting stuck. So it looks like at least at first inspection, they fixed that, they've tightened that up, they made the hole a little bit bigger. It does not have the quick adjust that the old ones had. The strap isn't all silicone like this one was. It is a bit more of a pleather one. It's still soft, but the edges of it are a little sharp on the hand, but it's definitely reminiscent. It doesn't have quite the weird ghostly shape the Quest 2 one had, where at the bottom it comes down further. And then of course, only the J-Brad one came with the magnetic tip in the bottom, although it's easy enough to put magnets in, and that's definitely what I'm gonna be doing for charging these instead of using the cable. I've spent months now with the prototypes, but it's not the final model. So I do need to take these away for a little while, do some game testing, fully check them out for you, and then get back at you with some final thoughts and let you know, are these gonna be on my second Quest? Are they gonna replace my full-time grips on my other Quest? Are these all I'm ever gonna use again? We'll be back. After a couple weeks with the new and final Aubika grips here, I'm happy to report back that I'm really enjoying these grips. We'll start with the cons first, as we typically do though. When you first get these grips, one thing, especially if you're used to their Quest 2 grips, these were all this nice silicone cover, your hands slid in there pretty easily, and this felt just super soft on your hand. They opted for more of a pleather style strap this time, and when you first get it, it's kind of stiff. The edges are a little sharp. I do know from having tested these for a while, it gets softer as it gets a little more worn in and a little more distressed. And even since first getting these, the more I game with them, the better they get. But you will notice it's a little hard to get your hand in depending on how tight you have them, and the edges do feel a little sharp on the sides at first. It's silicone. I like silicone. I like that it holds on. I like when you get sweaty, it doesn't get slippery, but that does mean it holds a bit more of the heat in the palm of your hand. You'll notice as you play games more, especially sweaty active games. And now from the prototype I tested to the final, one bit of feedback I gave was that this was kind of slipping. It wasn't as stiff or strong. They opted for a much thicker, more resilient silicone that holds on better. It's still clear so the tracking lights show through, but you do notice it a little bit. Just if you're playing around with your thumb right here, you can feel that edge is a lot thicker. That's a minor nitpick, but it's just something that I noticed because I'd gotten so used to playing with these that I kept kind of just my thumbs, I'd almost play with it while I was doing stuff with this edge. But outside of that, the original one, I had some problems sometimes where the silicone would get out just far enough that my grip button didn't always want to return instantly. So they modified this one, and I haven't had any problems now with the grip slowing down, getting stuck at all. They made this part thicker like I asked. And then of course, it does come with the charging cable that plugs into both of them and charges them up. I ideally want magnetic chargers, so I'm gonna pull mine out of here, slap those in the bottom, and then charging them is as easy as just snapping a set of these on. So mine will look more like that, and in the final video, I'll leave a link not only to the actual grips, but to some magnetic charging kits in case you wanna do the same, because it's real easy, they're pretty cheap. It also works well with their Cybercore if you're someone who got one of those, and if you haven't checked those out, they're actually actually on a sale for way cheaper than even back when I reviewed them. But outside of that, I feel like I'm back to my Quest 2 grips that I know and love, aside from this really comfy hand strap and the quick tighten mechanism, which I do miss too on this one. If you got different people in, you're redoing this part every so often. I really like that quick release, but some people complained that that thing would bang you in the hand depending on what you're playing with, and it was distracting. So it's a trade-off. You lost that issue, but you gained some of the issues that I have with Velcro straps like this. But overall, these are my go-to grips now. I love the fact that they're always charged up. I don't ever have to think about a battery. Although on the Quest 2, you're not really thinking about the batteries too often. It does mean that I am going to officially retire the MetaQuest official charging dock. Now that I have the Bobo swappable batteries, my headset's always got a battery ready to go. If I have a front cover on, this thing, you know, if you have this thing can be really finicky. And now with these, I can't charge them through here anyways, so ultimately, I'll hang on to this for now just to finish up the review docs video. But now, basically what I'll have is I'll have my magnetic charging ready for these, I'll have the batteries for this, and my Quest doesn't really need any sort of charging stand, so I can probably put it back on one of the pretty J-Brat colorful ones from Mysterion. But I'm happy with what Aubika's done here. I will continue reviewing grips for all of you out there. You know, there may be some that come with quick releases later, some other additions that I like, but this full-time from now on, and I have to make sure I'm gonna get rid of the prototype. I guess that's what I'm probably supposed to do now, but it definitely had a few little flaws, and I like that they actually reached out ahead of time and got some advice on what I would like to see. I don't have any sort of affiliate link or anything with them, but they are giving us a discount code so that you can get them a little cheaper. They're 40 bucks right now, but there will be a discount code in the comments and description down below if you decide you want to get a set. I don't get anything out of all that, but it's cool that they're gonna give you some discounts instead. We are talking about future grips. I'll at least give you a little heads up about that. Nothing is certain yet or for sure, but I think that we'll see some sort of a slight repeat if you've been with the channel long enough to know what I'm talking about right now. But what do you think out there? I know a lot of you have already gotten grips. There's still good ones out there, the Kiwi ones, the ones I was using that just work on the actual controller. They're all still good grips, if I recommended them, of course. We've tried tons of crap grips at this point too. But if you've already got a set that you know and love, you could hang on to that for now. If you've been waiting, or if you really like the idea of a rechargeable grip that's ready to go all the time, I like it too, but just remember to plug it in because it's a lot more trouble if you've let them sit around, you let them die, to take this whole thing off now and swap a battery or end up waiting on the controller. So if you're gonna get this set, make sure you actually set it up in a way where it's easy to plug them back in or slap them on a magnet every time you go back to play. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments down below. I wanna say thank you once again for being here with me. Thank you to Aubika for sending us these early and working together with us, because so many times I tell companies, like, send me something when it's in design and I can help you end up with what I think is a better product that people will be more happy with. And very few companies have ever taken me up on that offer. So if you're one of those companies too, think about it. But thank you for being here with me once again, and I'll see you in another reality.